You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? Welcome to Primary Technology, the show about the tech news that matters. iOS 27 Beta 3 is out with some interesting changes. Microsoft had some major layoffs, including big ones from the Xbox division. Samsung announced Unpacked. Pixel 11 launches announced. Netflix is doing shorts, and I'm wearing the Meta glasses. We're going to talk about those. This episode is brought to you by Framer, CleanMyMac, NordLayer, and you, the members who support us directly. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Robles, joined by Apple TV famous actor Jason Ayton. How's it going, Jason?
Wait a minute, I wasn't acting. It was a reality show.
Oh, you were always reality show.
Just want to be clear.
I don't know. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble who might be listening or watching, but those reality shows, they're a little scripted.
But here's the thing: I don't want anybody. I'm not a member of SAG-AFTRA or whatever, so I don't want anyone to come after me.
I see.
Myself an actor.
Fair enough. But Jason literally was featured, not featured.
Stop.
He
I
appeared.
walked through the background of a shot.
We'll get to it because I have a picture that I got to show everybody. But did you know where that quote came from? You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? It's not very well known, but
well, here's the thing. I think it's a Batman quote. The Joker says that.
Yeah, you nailed it again.
But
yes, that's right.
I also first thought it was a Wreck-It Ralph quote because I'm pretty sure he quotes that in Wreck-It Ralph. Well, hold on.
Maybe.
But I think the correct answer is it's the Joker. It's the Jack Nicholson Joker.
That is,
right? Yeah.
You're correct. That is correct. It is from the original Batman.
You also sort of said it like Joker.
I was trying to give you a little hint. I mean, it seemed kind of vague at first, but yeah, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses. I'm wearing the Meta glasses right now. I got thoughts. Other people have thoughts about me having Meta glasses. I want to get to all of that later.
That's what I really want to hear. Actually, is just could you just collect all their thoughts?
Yes, I can, because the glasses are just always recording. No, just kidding. But Meta might be making glasses that always record. We'll get to that too. 2 quick 5-star review shout-outs. DJ Eston31 from Canada, who says we're fantastic. Thank you. And of all the tech podcasts I've listened to, this is the most recent. Thank you for that.
I don't know that that's actually a raving review.
Well,
it just
he says
means
fantastic.
That he listened to our podcast and then left a review. That's all
correct.
That means.
That's correct. That's what he did. And now this was a 4-star review, but I want to mention it. A.H. Burbank from the USA said, info and banter are excellent, but was struggling with the volume level. And listen, this is the whole team of Primary Technology. It's me and Jason. We do the whole thing. I edit the show twice because we do video and audio. But I also understand I obsess about audio, and it's really tough to obsess about audio when you're doing the video stuff in Apple Podcasts for a variety of reasons. Anyway, let me know how this one sounds, because I'm going to do something different on this one. And if it makes a significant difference, then I will continue to do it, which will probably add a significant amount of time to the process. But I will do it because I want everybody to have a good experience. So let me know. I'm going to try something different.
I appreciate, though, it's fun that Steven edits his show twice because that makes up for the fact that I edit it 0 times.
That's right. I edited once for both of us.
Yes, I appreciate that.
And it counts it all. All right, you were in England for July 4th, which is hilarious.
As one does when you're in America and you fly across the pond.
What's a kilometer? Anyway, and then you sent me this photo, which is from the Apple TV broadcast of the F1. If someone wanted to rewatch this, what would they watch to see you?
If you go to Apple TV, the Formula One tab, because you now get this for free if you have an Apple TV subscription, right?
That's right.
I believe this was before. It was either the sprint. I think it was either the sprint race or qualifying. It was not the actual race. Okay. I will find out and I will tell Steven or something.
Yes,
you can put. So I knew this was going to happen because I realized I'm walking behind. This is the Sky or the Formula One team that does all the commentary and stuff.
Right.
So I'm walking out to shoot. As you can see, I'm carrying a camera and I'm dressed in my little tabard thing. Listen, that thing, you can laugh right now, but that's what lets you basically go anywhere on the track you want.
Oh, I know.
I'm walking and all of a sudden I realized that was probably a live shot. They're probably because they're talking. Why would these 4 people be standing there talking with a camera pointed at them if it's not actually being broadcast? So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to send that to my kids and my family.
Was it did it seem like it was before the thing? Like it was at the beginning?
This was at the very, yes, I believe that this was the very beginning of qualifying for the race. So it would have been on Saturday.
I'll find the Apple TV link to this broadcast specifically, and I will put it in the show notes so you can all watch Jason walk behind them.
It's really not that exciting at all, but
there
were way more exciting things that happened. Billie Jean King was there.
Okay.
Do you know who Billie Jean King is?
I don't. Who is that?
Steven.
I'm sorry, I don't.
She's
know
like
who
won Wimbledon 16 times, like 6 of those as a singles, and like 10 or 11 times as a doubles as a partner.
Okay, that's I did not know.
Billie
That.
Jean
Very
King.
cool.
She's like one of the most famous tennis players of all time.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'll
there's
put
a
the
lot of
official.
it.
I'll put the
Harrison
official.
Barnes. Do you know who Harrison Barnes is?
Why are you doing this to
Player?
me, Jason?
Yeah, because you don't know anything about sports.
I'm going to put the official website of Billie Jean King in the show notes. How about that? Okay, I'm going to do that.
Anyway, it was a lot of fun. So
that's very cool. And
Silverstone is a pretty iconic race. It was the first Formula One race, and so British Grand Prix, and so it was a lot of fun to be there.
Did you do anything on July 4th that was typically American?
Yeah, I went to a barbecue, which as you do in England. I don't, and so the Cadillac.
I'm surprised
team,
they allow that. I'm surprised.
I am too, but it was in the paddock. The Cadillac team threw a barbecue in their area of the paddock. It was great. I did get some people who are probably from Tennessee who are like, "That's not a barbecue." It is a barbecue. Just to be
clear, if you're from Tennessee, we love you. That's not how you sound. Jason's just making fun of this particular Tennessee.
That's not a barbecue. No, Tennessee.
That's even worse.
Here's the thing. Yeah. A barbecue just means that you cook meat over fire. That's literally what the word barbecue means.
I think you just made 100 enemies, but okay, continue.
Look it up. It was really funny because somebody told me I was wrong. They're like, Merriam-Webster disagrees, and then they sent me the photo of Merriam-Webster, and it literally just says,
"What's a barbecue?" I'm asking Siri AI.
I appreciate it.
This is gonna. Just give me a second.
A barbecue is an outdoor social gathering where food is cooked over an open fire or grill. The term also refers to the cooking equipment itself and the slow-cooked smoked meat served at these events.
So
Siri
most
AI
people
agrees.
only think about the last one.
Yeah.
It's like ribs or pulled pork or something like that. I'm like, no, that's... Anyway, they had a barbecue. It was hot dogs, burgers. It was quite the spread. They even had like the frozen pops like that you had as a kid, the like push pops, the ones that you buy them and they're just a bunch of liquid in a warm bag and then you put them in the freezer and they become a popsicle and
exactly.
Every kid loves them. Yeah, they had all that stuff. They had Budweiser. You know, it doesn't get any more American than
America. What's a kilometer? Exactly.
Anyway, I posted a short little video to Threads of the whole experience, and I think it might be the most liked post that I've ever shared. It was like 600 likes just from a short video of the of a barbecue in the paddock. And I did get some people who are like, you know, that team is terrible. I'm like, I don't care. And people are like, they're not the only American team. I'm like, I don't care. They threw a barbecue. It's free burgers and hot dogs and
enjoy.
Stuff, so.
Let me enjoy my freedom and barbecue.
They even had Coca-Cola in glass bottles. It does not get any more 4th of July than that.
That's all right. That's it. We're going to talk about July 4th again later because I wore these glasses to the July 4th that we went to. And you can't measure freedom in meters. But anyway, let's talk about iOS.
None of those words actually go together, but it's fine.
They don't. Now, we said something we were going to do in the pre-show. We're going to talk about iOS 27 Beta 3, and we're going to do something live here on the show. I've been holding out installing the beta on my main iPhone. I've had it on all my side devices, but we're both going to put it on our main iPhone right now. You got yours ready?
Yeah.
Are you going to do it? Go. All right, I'm going to do it right here. Hold on. Let me go to the software update. I probably should have done this before.
I'm way more ready than you are.
You're way more ready because I didn't even have it on the developer beta thing because I was like, this is probably going to bork my smart home. I'm not going to be able to control any of my devices.
See, the stakes are very low for me. I don't have any of those. I have like 2 shortcuts that run. And if they don't, I don't care.
See, well, I'll still have my main Mac Studio is not going to be on. I'm not going to put that on the beta. I'm not going to do that till this fall. But let's do it. We're going to update our main daily driver iPhones to iOS 27 Beta 3. You ready?
I got to put my passcode in, so hang on.
See, I'm ready.
No, you're going to have to put your passcode in too.
What's a kilometer? Oh, to do the update? Wait, did you already press the update now?
I just did. Yep, go.
Update now. Oh, yeah, you're right. I do got to put in my passcode. You're right.
And then you got to agree to the terms.
I got to agree to the terms. Oh, Did I read them? No one reads them.
Now the update is requested. And now, hang on. While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and update my Mac too.
Yeah, while we record. Thank you. All right, I'm updating the iOS 27 Beta 3 on my main iPhone as we speak. Because, chances are, if you look at the public beta release cycle, it's likely coming out pretty soon. If you were waiting for the public beta, it's probably coming. So, Beta 3 came out this past Monday, and there's been some interesting developments. Number one, a huge win for the shortcuts team. You can now go into the shortcuts. There's a toggle now where you can say, take me straight to the editor, the actions, rather than having to go to the describe a shortcut by default every time you tap a shortcut. I am taking full credit for this because I requested it day one of DubDub. I saw somebody, I grabbed him by the collar. I said, listen, I need a toggle. I need to be able to just go straight to the actions view, and now you can do that. So in beta,
So wait, what you're saying is that
yes,
the iOS 27 default was that if you wanted to make a new shortcut, you had to tell it what you wanted it to do. You couldn't just go in the way you've been able to do forever and just start making one.
you could do that, but you always had to tap the little editor. And even if you went into a shortcut that you had built previously, like one of my 1500, it would go to the describe a shortcut scene or like page by default, rather than show me the actions of the shortcut that I had built years ago. And my method of working, I always want to go to the editor, which is what Apple calls it, or the actions view. And so now in beta 3, you'll see there is a page. If you go to settings, apps, shortcuts, you can say, bring me to the editor by default, or if you want to go to the describe a shortcut by default, you can do that. So I am very thankful that that is there. There is also a rather ominous restore button that tells you 731 shortcuts on this device aren't currently in your library. I don't know exactly what that means, and I'm terrified to press it. Federico Vitici said that it basically took all of his shortcuts that weren't in a folder and kind of re-added them. So I'm not pressing that restore button. I would not recommend doing that. But it's there if that's the thing you want. But it's huge win. Huge win.
There is a tendency of Apple, not just Apple, but that's the one I'm most familiar with, of giving you something like that might very well be extremely useful, but you're like, I have no idea what they're trying to tell me. What does restore mean? What does it mean that these things are not? There are 700 on this device that are not in my library, or that are in my library but are not. Like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, and I don't know if I should push this button or not. And I feel like I've come across that over the last 10 years enough times that I feel like they just need a copy editor. Someone who can look at this and be like, we need to use words that people will understand.
I think that's a good idea because
call me, Apple. I'm happy to help.
And Jason writes, we need to talk about, I need to get your take on the reminders icon in a moment. But the other interesting development is it looks like Siri AI is starting to look into third-party apps. And the one place that it seems it's doing that consistently is with EV device charging. And so if you're on beta 3 and you ask it, what's the charge on my car, you will get wildly different results. Sometimes it'll tell you, sometimes it won't, but it might. And so I did it on my iPhone Air, and what it showed me was a drop down that said, I asked, like, what's the charge of my car? And in the notification, it says, I'll need to access your Tesla data to use the app. Is that okay? A yes or no toggle, which I was like, for sure, go get it. And then it says, error, sorry, we can't do that. So this is the very beginning stages of this. One, it will be interesting because I don't think there was an update to the Tesla app that somehow allowed this. So it seems like maybe because it has an app intents, there are Tesla shortcuts actions and there's app intents, maybe just out of the box, Siri AI will be able to look at that information and get it. But that's very exciting because once Siri AI can look into third-party apps, that opens a world of possibilities for pulling data, hopefully from things like your Gmail, which probably doesn't have app intents right now, but Outlook and all the third-party apps that people are like, will this actually work with Siri AI? So hopeful. I'm optimistic.
Maybe. Because just to be clear, this story is like, we don't know, like it may never work with Tesla. The fact that prompt said that is just because it knew you had an app on your phone that was an EV app. So like, I don't know that this is a function of Siri being able to look into those third-party apps. It obviously requires those third-party apps to decide that they want you to do that. And this is the only reason I mention this is the kind of story where someone came across a thing and then drew some conclusions and then wrote a story. But we have no idea what this means. We have
no idea. And Apple's
we don't know whether third-party apps are any closer. And the reason I mention this is you could read this story and think, oh, this is cool. Apple is doing the proactive thing of just using your phone for you, essentially, looking into stuff. I don't think that's what this means. It might. I don't think we can draw that conclusion. I think what this might mean is, like, at some point, if an app decides that it's going to do this, then Siri will be able to do it the way that it can with first-party apps. But there's a lot of steps that have to happen there. And I don't know that, like, Tesla so far has shortcuts. Yes, that's great. Will it also allow you to just ask Siri, what's my charge level app? I don't know.
Well, and in the 9 to 5 Mac story that I'll link below, there's a tweet from Max Weinbach where he got it to tell him the charge percentage. So he was able to get Siri AI to show a little circle with the car charge, the percentage of the battery, and how many miles were left on the range. Now,
but not with his Tesla app. It was with a different third-party app.
Was it with a different third-party app?
There's a separate app called Tessie that it did work with.
Interesting.
So,
okay, yes, that is a wrinkle. We'll
now, someone also said it was working with the Ford app. Again, what I'm trying to say here is I don't think that Siri has taken a leap forward where it is able to just go into an app and do that unless those developers have either said we're in. Right. And even if they do, keep in mind, they're not using iOS 27 frameworks and APIs and whatever in their currently publicly released versions. You can't ship a version of an app using this stuff yet. Trust me, I haven't tried, but I very quickly came across oh shoot, I have to be careful about how I do this because if I'm using something that requires 20 anyway. So I don't know. I think it's cool and I think it's encouraging. I just was there's a conclusion drawn from this that you could make that I don't think you should make. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, we will. I'm cautiously optimistic, but yes, we have to see. And I think once the iPhone is launched and we get the iOS 27 release date, that is when you hear from a lot of app developers to be like, hey, we'll be there on day one.
I'll be there on day one. You can use Siri to do anything you want in my apps. Yep.
All right, well, look at that. There you go. And I need to get your professional opinion on one other thing in this beta 3. Apple changed the reminders icon to go from a solid circle on the left of 3 little lines of the old reminders icon to now 3 Fruit Loops on the new reminders icon. And listen, this is tweet it got out there, it broke containment. A lot of people had thoughts on it. A lot of people said they loved it. I need to know how you feel about this, Jason. I
don't really know the last time I looked at the reminders icon. I never see it. I don't care. Who cares?
No.
What's bad about it?
I don't know if it's bad. It looks
They just inverted it. Literally, they took the dark part and made it the light part, and they took the light part and made it the dark part. That's all they did.
I don't know if it looks a little clowny, clown. I don't know, something about it.
In the thread that we're looking at on our screen, which is very small. There's a screenshot of 2 icons that are very small. And yet they're still 1,000 times bigger than anyone will ever see them on their device.
I know that.
I know. I'm the grump. I'm not being cranky about it. I'm just saying I don't know why. I don't know. Do you look at the reminders icon very often?
I do. That's where I have my video planning and personal tasks. I do actually have it on my home screen. Okay. So I do look at it a lot.
Okay.
Maybe it'll look fine. Well, I'm installing the beta right now on my main iPhone, so I'll let you know how it feels.
How you feel
looking at it every day. I think interesting design choice. B, interesting to change the icon design on beta 3 and not beta 1. Because obviously there was a bunch of design changes, iOS 27, with all the liquid glass stuff. You got the slider and corner radii on the Mac, all these things, and then the reminders icon just changes beta 3.
Well, that part doesn't surprise me at all because the team that works in reminders is not the same team that's working on iOS 27.
Sure.
So their deadline for shipping is just release date. Right?
Whenever. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. All right, the last thing I want to say about iOS 27, this is kind of an unfortunate turn of events. The Apple Home updates for HomeKit Secure Video, we've talked about it. I did a video on it on my channel. They're going to be behind the 2 terabyte iCloud Plus subscription paywall or Apple One Premier bundle, meaning things like the notifications that will be more streamlined, so you don't get 1,000 notifications when people go in and out of the door. The descriptions for video, natural language descriptions, that natural language searching of your video recordings. A lot of this is going to be behind that higher tier iCloud account, which I think is unfortunate. Now, previously, just to use HomeKit Secure Video, you needed to pay for iCloud Plus. So this HomeKit Secure Video was never a free, quote-unquote, free feature, but you would have it even if you were only on the 200 gig iCloud storage plan. But now, for these other features, you're going to have to go to the higher tiers for iCloud Plus storage. And I think that's just kind of meh. I wish it wasn't gated behind the higher tiers.
But
That's all.
there's an actual cost with this, though.
Is there?
Aren't they storing all of this HomeKit secure video?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't charge for the HomeKit Secure Video at all. They already were. You already had to pay for iCloud storage for HomeKit Secure Video. But now if you were only on the 200 gig iCloud storage plan, you don't get these new features. You won't get the Apple Intelligence summaries, the natural language search, the better notifications. Now you have to upgrade even higher for that. Even though I don't know if this is happening on device or in the cloud, I have a feeling the notifications stuff is probably on device to streamline that stuff. But I don't know. It feels a little like, I don't like that.
And I mean, I guess it seems weird because iCloud Plus, all of the other features are the same. Is that true? Across
you get like private relay, hide my email. I think you get all of them.
Sharing, Apple invites.
Yeah.
So all of those are the same no matter what. So none of the other features have been gated based on how much storage you're paying for. So it does feel sort of weird that now suddenly you have to be paying. Whereas if it's like, well, if the $10.90 or the $9.99 a month, $9.99 a month plan included other features that were distinct. I mean, it does actually now. It includes unlimited cameras where the other plans don't include unlimited cameras.
Correct.
So there already is a distinction there. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't use HomeKit Secure Camera, so it's hard to get worked up about. But I do understand philosophically that Apple has these two subscription bundle things.
Yeah.
Apple One and this iCloud Plus. And it's like, well, we don't need a third one. So we just have to dump it into this and so it's just not going to quite make sense. I agree.
True.
So
that is
you're
true.
already paying for 2 terabytes, right?
Jason.
I mean, you're at least paying for 2 terabytes is what I'm saying, right?
Oh, at least.
Right.
Yes.
So it's not a problem for you. You got this.
Now, wait a minute. I don't know if we've ever covered this on the show. I mean,
I
you
pay for 4.
You pay for 4 terabytes?
I have the 2 terabytes with the Apple One, and then I pay for 2 terabytes.
And you pay for the Apple One Premier for your family?
I think so. I pay for the whatever the one that includes, yes, all of it.
I don't want to say it.
It's like $37, right, for the Apple One Premier Plus Max Pro bundle?
It's Apple One Premier is the $38 a month.
I think that's what I'm paying for.
You get all the things plus the 2 terabytes of iCloud. Listen, I'll just show this, flash it on screen for a second. That's my iCloud storage.
Why are you paying for 8 terabytes? That's insane. Why is your iCloud library 12 terabytes? What does that say?
My iCloud Photos is 1.2 terabytes.
1.2. I thought it said 12. I'm like, that math does not work.
No. iCloud Photos, 1.2 terabytes. iCloud Drive, 500 gigs. Backups is about 270 gigs. How much storage does your messages take up? I'm curious.
I have to go back here to this.
Go check it out.
Anyway,
Anyway,
my thing to update and
I pay for the 8 terabytes because there's 5.1 terabytes used right now total across my family.
Because you actually use iCloud Drive instead of Dropbox.
I do.
Because I have 8 terabytes of Dropbox storage.
Sheesh. Okay, well then we're even. We're even there. But
actually, I have more because I have 8 terabytes of Dropbox and 4 terabytes of
iCloud. Listen, my family barely uses any iCloud storage, so it's basically all me. Like the family usage to me.
Okay, so your question was...
Your messages. How much storage in iCloud does your messages take up?
It's not taking up very much space on my phone, which is nice.
My messages currently is 140 gigabytes.
Mine's 80 gigabytes. And I understand why you are... This is... Okay, Steven.
Yeah.
This is a thing that's exactly the same as what we were just talking about with that restore button, where you don't know what it means. Because if you tap on messages...
Yes.
You could manage your storage, and it'll say I have 80.1 gigs of messages data securely stored in iCloud and available to all your devices.
Yes.
And I could delete that and free up all that space.
At what cost?
What I don't understand is if I delete, because it's just all the attachments and photos and videos.
Correct.
Right. Now, I don't think I want to do that in iCloud. I want them to all stay in iCloud. What I don't want is I don't want them on my device.
Correct.
Because guess what? If I tap on it, it can just still download it.
Right.
But if you go to the storage, if I back out and I go to general iPhone storage and I look down and I see how much space my messages are taking up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, save up to, 21 gigs in
Right.
attachments taking up storage and messages and consider deleting them. What happens if I do that, Stephen?
Well, that's like the large attachments. So you could say review large attachments, and then you can delete one by one, or
But
select multiple.
what is happening? Are they staying in iCloud?
That's a good question.
That's what I don't know. Is if I delete it, is it syncing that I've deleted it, so now it's gone?
I think it's
would,
gone.
I would delete all of them if they were still in iCloud,
That's
and I
the
knew
thing.
I could pull them back down anytime I want. It's
black
kind of
box.
like in Dropbox or in iCloud where you can be like, I don't need a local version of this. Just,
Right, just keep
only
it in
have it
cloud,
in
yeah.
the cloud.
Listen, no one can know. No one, not even
we
anyone at
should
Apple knows. They don't. No one knows what happens.
All right, sorry. This was not. We're way off track. I apologize. It's completely.
No,
my
the
fault. I've been
storage-
traveling for a week.
I know.
I'm just very discombobulated.
Storage is everybody's got to deal with storage. You know what I mean? It happens. All right, I wanted to cover the Microsoft Xbox layoffs, and it's Microsoft layoffs in total, but just a vast majority of them are Xbox. I'll put the TechCrunch article in here. They're laying off 4,800 people, 2.1% of its global workforce. So that is unfortunate. The statement, the EVP and Chief People Officer, Amy Coleman, had a statement, and they wanted to stress, quote, these roles are not being replaced by AI. Okay, but noted, what is true is that AI is changing how work gets done, which seems like it's not AI, but also could be AI. That's why we're laying people.
Well, what they're really saying is we're not replacing these roles with robots. What we're
Sure.
going to do is pay $200 a month for Claude Max and make the existing employees do twice as much work. That's what they're saying.
Yes, and she goes on to say, some of the tasks we do every day can now be automated, and that means we all need to keep learning, keep building new skills, and keep adapting. I'm not going to say this sounds like a threat, but it kind of sounds like a threat to everyone who's still at Microsoft. It's like, listen, the task you do right now, it could be automated, so maybe develop some new skills. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, so when I was in England, I think that's what I'm supposed to say because I was in the country of England, which is
Yeah, you
part
were
of the
in
United
England, yeah.
Kingdom.
You were in Great Britain, United Kingdom.
Anyway, I was in Oxford is where I was.
Yes.
I went to Oxford for a meeting.
Did you visit the Eagle and Child, by the way?
I wanted to, but I literally the company. I went for a meeting and they sent a car to pick me up from Milton Keynes because it's an hour to Oxford. I had the meeting and then the car took me back. So it was very. But anyway, in the conversation I was having, they were telling me about one of the F1 teams where they had a guy used to have to write a report every day. They're sent back to the factory. This is what we need to do. Whatever. Now this person has an AI agent that just does that for him every single day, and it has saved him like 3 hours a day. Now that doesn't mean they pay the guy for 3 hours less. It just means he can do something different for 3 hours. So there's like a net positive. That's a good use of AI.
Yeah.
But having the robot just do all that person's work feels like a really bad use of AI. And I feel like the companies that now Microsoft's a little different because if these people were writing code, it turns out that the AI agents are pretty good at that. And one human can probably handle I'm saying things I don't really know because I haven't actually written a lot of code, even though I have an app in the App Store.
Sure.
But it feels like really good top level engineers, software engineers are able to supervise a bunch of AI agents that they pay a lot less money for than the $380,000 salary they were paying the programmer or whatever it was. And so
Right.
I feel like it is a little disingenuous to say we're not replacing these jobs with AI. What does that actually mean? Like, right, you're not hiring robots powered by AI, but what is true is that AI is changing how works get done. Okay, yeah, you're going to just use the AI to do the work. It's the same thing, right?
It sounds like that, and this is one of the things I was curious if I could find information quickly about the amount of video game companies, not just Microsoft in general, who have had massive layoffs. Which I'm pretty sure Epic Games had a bunch of layoffs. A bunch of like video game developer studios have had massive layoffs, and they all say it's not because of AI, but it's also like a lot of the development work that is happening at these companies seems to have been like that's who's getting fired.
Right.
And so all that say for Xbox and Microsoft, 1,600 of the 4,800 are in the Xbox division for Microsoft. And Microsoft is also transitioning 4 of its gaming studios under new management. And Asha Sharma, the head of Xbox, basically said like their profitability is not, like they're not doing well. They're not doing well as a company. There are things like Game Pass and other initiatives that they thought would perform well has not been performing well. And I hear, Nilay on The Verge, and he's saying like Xbox might just get spun off. Like Microsoft might be done with it pretty soon. But you also look at the hardware of video game industry as a whole. The Steam machine is out there that's really expensive, even though they're selling it at cost. PlayStation Pro got more expensive. Xbox got more expensive, even though these game systems have been out for years, all because of it. And also, PlayStation announced that they were going to be done with physical discs by, I think, 2028. And there was a huge backlash on that. Just video game industry as a whole seems like not in a good place.
Yeah, and in addition, well, I guess I don't know enough about the video game industry to know whether that's true or not, because people do like entertainment, right? Maybe as businesses, they have creeped their way into unprofitable areas that have caused some problems. But I think the bigger problem that Microsoft has had is a problem that other companies like Meta has had. Meta, for example, is an advertising company. But guess what? Selling ads is just not cool. So Mark Zuckerberg does not care about it at all. That's why you're wearing glasses right now. Right? Exactly. That's why they bought a headset company. That's why they thought the metaverse should be a thing that no one else thought should be a thing. It's because selling ads is not cool. Selling Excel is not cool. It's just not cool. You know what's cool? Video games are cool. So what if we had a video game company and we made a console and we made that was the problem, but it's like Microsoft it's just never going to win that game. PlayStation won, right? The Nintendo Switch won the other market of it. And then you have all these other things. Right. But for a company like, if Xbox was on its own, I think that it would be a very, very different story for it, because the incentives would be different. The incentives would be like, true. How does this become a good business without worrying about how it competes with the other businesses? And you talked about like what Nilay says, like Microsoft's whole Xbox philosophy was, what if we could put some, windows in your living room? what if instead you had a computer, you had a phone, and then your TV also ran some version of Windows, and it turned out that was Xbox. Right. It's just nobody. That's just not what how it shook out.
I'm curious. So I'll put a Polygon article in here because after PlayStation announced January 2028 would be the cutoff date, they won't make physical games anymore, physical game discs. There was a huge backlash against it. PlayStation didn't address it, and then they posted something about their Flex Strike wireless fight stick. That was their next post after announcing about no physical games. And of course, the reaction to that is still, people are very mad. And I follow a few gamers on Instagram, game streamers, obviously with my kids who are into games. Like I know of game streamers because of them. And like the reaction is universally negative, with some people being like, listen, no one cares about physical media anymore. I'm curious your thought, because I did this whole video on the Kaleidoscape movie streamer, which is like, quote unquote, the answer to high quality movies that aren't Blu-rays. So still in the digital world, but you don't need a physical disc. And physical media has been going away for a long time. Best Buy doesn't even sell physical media in the stores anymore. You have to either get it on Amazon or some random store, a local video shop or whatever. Do you have any nostalgia or feelings for physical media? Like I was tempted to buy Interstellar on a 4K Blu-ray disc after all of this, because I was like, maybe I want some of my favorite movies on a physical disc. But even though I'll never play it, I don't know. What do you think? How do you feel?
So I think there's a couple different things. I do think you can still buy game media at Best Buy. They don't sell movies.
Correct. They don't sell movies on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray. Okay. Just to be clear. And I understand why. The reason is because people weren't buying them. And it is, you cannot build a profitable business at the kind of scale that a company like Microsoft or Best Buy or whoever needs on people who are nostalgic for the days of physical media, right? Like that's not a very profitable business, and there's GameStop for that, I guess. Like that's where that business is. Like the Kaleidoscape, I don't understand how that can possibly be a profitable business. And then you think, oh, it's a very, 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 very small niche business. And it's only for people who care deeply about this. And I don't think the people who care deeply about physical media care about things like, maybe some of them do, so don't send me nasty emails. But like the argument for physical media is not as much anymore that I have a copy of it on my shelf. However, I do have like all 7 seasons of The West Wing on DVD.
I think it's ownership. I think it's the question of ownership because, and I will share this article in the show notes too, there have been cases where even when people have purchased the digital copy of a movie, it's been removed from whatever service they purchased it from, PlayStation in particular. There was a movie like Terminator 2. Even if you had purchased it through like PlayStation's movie service, it got removed because of a change in licensing deal. And people who had bought that movie for the full price no longer had access to it. And so there is this feeling, and I do wonder if it's also connected to the whole AI and the negative cultural feelings about that. Like maybe it's all tied together where it's like, I'm renting everything. Like anytime I buy something, it's a subscription, or even when I think it's a full-on purchase, it feels like a rental because it could be taken from me at any point. And I get that feeling. I typically, if I ever purchase a movie, it's either on the dumb Kaleidoscape because it's the only way to watch it, or I purchase it from Apple because I feel somewhat confident that movies that are on Apple that I buy from Apple won't go away. But it also does feel like, do I truly own that thing? Because I think even like years ago, I don't think it's been recent, but I think even Apple's library has lost some titles for it. And so I think people just feel like I'm paying for Netflix, I'm paying for HBO, I'm paying for Hulu and Disney Plus. I don't own any of this. Everything is a rental. And even when I want to own something, there's a chance that it could be removed if it's digital. And so I want the physical thing. And now the companies are saying, actually, we're not even going to do the physical things anymore either.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, not theoretically. Technically speaking, even if you buy it on a disc, you're actually just buying a license to something, right? They can't come and take it because it's called breaking and entering. They can't come and get the disc from you. But you're very limited in what you're allowed to do with it because they want desperately to control how their work is presented. I think, Apple's, I guess the advantage Apple had for a long time was you could literally download you buy a movie, you download it. In the worst case scenario of all these movie stars, you just disconnect that device from the internet. And it's like, I at least have the bits, right?
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of songs that I've downloaded. Lot of songs. And I don't think Apple is going to take any of them away. I paid 99 cents and then later, was it like $1.29 for the DRM?
Yeah, if you have
free?
iTunes Plus tracks, they're DRM free and you own them, the file.
Yeah, I can do what I want with them. I can put them on a hard drive over here and guess what? They'll just work some other time. The downside to movies is there's just much larger files, so it's a little harder to do that. But I get what you're saying. Do you I think there are some people for whom maybe this is the problem. That for some people, that's the incentive. I want to have the physical thing because then you cannot take it away from me. That's one set of arguments. The other set of arguments I hear is I want the physical thing because it's higher quality. And I care about, Netflix doesn't stream it. I mean, Netflix is streaming it like whatever the standard is, 1080, like 1920 by 1080 or whatever like that. It's not very high quality.
Right.
You can get the 4K, but it's compressed to heck because like otherwise it's like 70 gig files that I'd have to send you. So
hence the Kaleidoscape.
Yeah. So like if you want to have the high quality, then the physical media or something like Kaleidoscape is what you need. But the problem is those two values are distinct enough that there's not enough buying power to say, no, this is a thing. Because most people are like, I'd rather just give you $25 a month and put them all on Netflix.
Right.
And the people who pay the $25 a month for Netflix are not buying Netflix because it has a thing they really, really... I used to pay for Netflix because they had Friends, The Office, and The West Wing. And they don't have, I don't think, any of those things now. I don't know.
Right.
So
they still have The West Wing, I think.
I think it finally went back.
Yeah,
it was not there for a long time. Right. But the point is, like, you're not paying for a specific piece of content. What you're paying for is the ability to turn it on and just be entertained by something.
Right. Yeah. And I think people understand, like, Netflix, like, you don't own anything. HBO Max, you don't own anything. Like, you just don't own it. And I think that's why the video game, I think it's felt more by video game people in that world, because if it's a digital-only video game, which PlayStation is saying everything will be digital by 2028, it feels like it's more like I'm renting this thing than I'm buying it. And I'll also put this article in the show notes because there was this case back in 2018 where someone claimed that movies disappeared from their Apple library even though they purchased it. The facts of the matter is this person changed their country or region. I don't know if they moved or whatever. And because certain movies are only available in certain countries because of licensing, that's why the movies disappeared from their library. So it wasn't that Apple lost the license or removed it from their library. It's that they changed region and not everything you buy is available in all regions, which again also feels like if I buy the Interstellar Blu-ray, I can travel anywhere in the world with my Blu-ray player and play that Blu-ray. But if I buy it on some service, if it's not licensed in another country, then I don't own it in that country. It feels weird. And I think all of this stuff is just kind of conglomerating into this negative feeling of I don't own any of the things I'm buying anymore and I don't like it. I think that's just the general feeling that's going on with people. And so, anyway.
If they do put a Blu-ray player in the Vision Pro, I would wear it on a airplane. Okay, I have an update for you.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, 27.3, they have changed what you see when you're indexing.
That's right.
It does not say indexing anymore. It says optimizing.
That's
because
right.
people were freaking out because it took 2 weeks. And I'm kind of angry because I just now realize I have to go through that whole process again on this phone.
You do. It indexes every device individually. Your index doesn't sync. That's right.
Which I heard, I think it was Jason and Mike Hurley talking about this on Upgrade. Like, if you back up your phone, if you get a new phone in September,
Yeah.
you're going to have to go through this process. But if you restore that from a backup, there's no reason that index should not be part of that backup of that device. So if you're flashing or if you do a device-to-device transfer, I guess maybe that should be the barrier. Is like, I can understand why the index itself doesn't sync to the cloud, but I don't understand why if you do a device-to-device transfer, shouldn't it just write all the bits on this one to the new one?
You would think, but it's not going to.
It should.
You're going to have to re-index it.
Listen, send another email to your friends at Apple and tell them that that's the way it should work.
Okay, sure. Did yours already update?
Oh yeah, I'm in.
I'm still updating over here. I still got preparing update. So anyway,
if only you had faster internet, Steven.
That's the problem. Last thing before we take a quick break, can I just say, I had a guy come out to the house yesterday, and he's going to quote me on running some more Ethernet. And this
in the house, you're saying?
In the house and maybe out of the house.
But you don't mean you're getting like a second internet line because the 8 gig up and down you have isn't fast enough.
No, I'm not getting a second internet line. But I might run Ethernet to my doorbell camera so I can have the best doorbell camera connection ever.
Steven's going to run Ethernet to his mailbox so that when the post
I should have asked him. Can I be honest? Okay, last thing, we'll take a break. We have a propane gas tank. Okay. And
you don't need to run Ethernet to the gas tank, Steven.
Well, hold on. It runs our like hot water heater thing, and obviously like the stove and the fireplaces. The propane gas goes to all those places. There's no automation to know like what level the tank is at. So I have to go out there like an animal and look at the physical meter to see how much gas is left and do I need to order a refill. And it's only once every 3-ish months, but it's still like a thing I got to check. And if I forget to check it, we could be up a creek. And there's been like one time where I forgot to check it long enough and it was like below 20%. And it was like, yeah, hopefully, because sometimes a refill takes a couple weeks. It's like, hopefully we'll be all right. So anyway, plus we get hurricanes. It's nice to know that it's full if we have to run a generator. I have had the thought of, can I put a HomeKit secure video camera inside the tank's cover so that I can just open the camera and look at the meter and maybe even with Apple Intelligence or something, set up an automation to let me know when that needle falls below a certain amount. But I've not figured that out yet. And I didn't ask for a quote on Ethernet to the gas tank.
But I think that if you Apple Cash some guy a bunch of money, then he'll just stand there and he'll watch it for you.
It's like TaskRabbit, just for like my gas
No, but wasn't
meter.
that what happened? Wasn't it a propane tank thing where you Apple Cash somebody a bunch of money?
Oh, yeah, I did. And he brought me a 55-gallon drum so I could burn boxes in it. That's. I
thought there was a propane tank story that involved some shady Facebook Marketplace propane.
No, that was a
tank
55-gallon drum.
Was
that was
okay.
55-gallon drum. Yeah, okay. Facebook Marketplace. Like, can I say I found this Instagram account? Found the algorithm served to me, which maybe it's highly targeted to me. Apparently, there's a guy that buys food on Facebook Marketplace and then reviews it. Did not know that was a thing.
Buys food on Facebook Marketplace.
And so here's how it goes. He pulls up to a shady neighborhood and just a random individual walks out to his car and hands him a bunch of bags. And in the bags is food. And sometimes the food looks amazing. Like at one time, this
Like,
dude.
these are people who are like homemade making tamales and churros? Or?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay,
There was
okay.
and there was one time there was just a dude with sandals and jean shorts walked out and handed him a bunch of barbecue that he just grilled off of his grill, and apparently it was amazing. And sometimes he gets food that I don't know. I don't know if I would eat it, but he is reviewing apparently you can buy food on Facebook Marketplace.
But we are not recommending that you do
We
that.
are not recommending
We're just
that.
stating the fact that it's a thing that can be done.
It is the thing that can be done, and I was shocked and appalled. Now,
I'm a little disturbed.
listen, I'm still recovering. This episode is brought to you by Framer. Framer is a complete website platform, not just a builder, so teams can launch and keep improving their sites in one place. And I shared an example last week, and I'll tell you again now. Parker Ortolani actually tweeted that he built this page with Framer's AI agents. First of all, love the landing page, with all the scrolling ticker feeds, everything is styled super nicely. Framer did all of this with their AI agent, and guess what? You can too. Framer is the pro site builder for creators, teams, and businesses that want a professional site and care enough to get every detail right. Agents and humans work in tandem. Agents bring speed and scale, people bring taste, judgment, and control. And you can do really cool things like A/B test your homepage or A/B test a landing page with a call to action. The agents solve the gap between AI-generated ideas and production-ready website work. Agents can work in the same place where the real site is designed, managed, reviewed, and published, and it lands on the canvas, stays editable, and can be published when the team is ready. And agents and Framer work alongside teams to streamline collaboration on the same canvas, build custom code components, create and manage CMS content, optimize SEO settings, and ship everything all in one place. And Framer is an enterprise-level solution, powered by agents that provides premium hosting, enterprise-grade security, and 99.99% uptime SLAs that give the world's leading brands like Perplexity and Miro the confidence they need to build their websites in Framer. So learn how you can get more out of your site from a Framer specialist or get started building for free today at framer.com/primary for 30% off a Framer Pro annual plan. That's framer.com/primary for 30% off. One more time, framer.com/primary. That link is in the show notes as well. Rules and restrictions may apply. Our thanks to Framer for sponsoring this episode and CleanMyMac. I love CleanMyMac. I run it. And if there's one use case that maybe you'll identify with, when I install an app that's not in the Mac App Store, I know it's installing things in the library, folders, and application support, and I want to make sure if I uninstall that app that all of it goes away. Well, CleanMyMac can help with all of that. And even things I've installed in the terminal and with AI stuff, I'm installing things all kind of places. Well, CleanMyMac can go through your Mac and help you clean up all those files. It's going to free up space, free up clutter, and it can even help you do things like cloud cleanup. It connects to your accounts on iCloud, OneDrive, Google Drive, or Dropbox, scans the cloud to find large space wasters, synced and unsynced files both in cloud storage, and can free it up. And especially a lot of times messages takes up a lot of space. If you're saving messages for 30 days or forever, I save my messages forever, there might be big attachments there, videos, photos, and CleanMyMac can go in there and help you free up space by removing some of that stuff from your Mac. It's easy to use. It can live in the menu bar, scan your Mac for all the things, and free up that space, clean it up, uninstall applications with confidence. You can do it all with CleanMyMac. So here's what you do. Get tidy today. Try 7 days free and use our code PrimaryTech, all one word, for 20% off at clnmy.com/primarytech. That's cleanmy.com/primarytech for 20% off with promo code PrimaryTech. And the link is also in the show notes with the promo code. You can click it there. Our thanks to CleanMyMac for sponsoring this episode. And finally, our friends at NordLayer. After you get your website together, you want to keep that website and your entire business secure, and that's where NordLayer comes in. It is a network security platform for modern teams across different work environments. It enables secure access to company systems with centralized control over users, devices, and network activity without additional hardware or complex infrastructure. Plus, I still love their landing page. They got our podcast artwork on there. Love it. It's for business owners. Protect your company data as your team works remotely or across locations. It's for IT admins. You can grant access based on identity, device, and context. It's for cybersecurity conscious listeners. If you want to block malware, phishing, and risky domains, plus detect unusual activity across users and devices. When you use NordLayer, every connection is encrypted. You get high-speed performance, dedicated secure gateways for traffic routing, and site-to-site connectivity. If you have multiple physical locations and you need to figure out how to do the VPN and get them all connected as the same site, well, NordLayer can help. Plus, unhealthy or non-compliant devices are blocked, security incidents contained per network segment, cloud firewall enforcement, and a ton more. And for compliance support, you get the access logs and activity monitoring, encrypted traffic across those connections, and a ton more. So here's what you do. You can get an exclusive offer up to 22% off NordLayer yearly plans plus 10% on top with coupon code PrimaryTechnology10. Try it risk-free 14-day money-back guarantee. That's 22% off NordLayer yearly plans plus 10% on top with coupon code PrimaryTechnology10. That info's in the show notes as well. And our thanks to NordLayer for sponsoring this episode. All right, let's do a mini-ish lightning round because there's been a bunch of announcements for events. Samsung Unpacked is happening July 22nd. We should see new Samsung Galaxy phones. A new foldable, possibly a new foldable style. And so the rumors are that it will not only fold like a book, but this one might fold another way, and it might be a larger type fold. So
I feel like it can only fold in two directions, and they've already done both of them. There's the flip and the fold.
It would be like, what do you call those, like wish tellers or whatever? Like the,
an origami thing?
Yeah, you do the 1, 2, 3, 4
What do they
thing.
call those things? I can't remember.
Now I need to look it up. What do you, let's see. All right, Google. You know what? Hold on. I'm uploading to iOS Beta 7. Let me ask. Let's see if Siri AI will know. What do you call the origami folding type thing where people either use it to make decisions or make wishes?
It's called a cootie catcher.
No, it's not. No,
Yes,
it is not.
The origami folding toy used to make decisions or tell fortunes is most commonly called a paper fortune teller or a cootie catcher.
All right, this show's over. This show's over. I've never heard that term in my life. I don't like it.
Did you go to public school? Because that's what everyone called them.
I did. I never heard that. In New York, we did not call them that.
Listen, I've never been happier that Siri said the words that I just whispered into a microphone.
I cannot believe that it said that. Okay, well, I don't even know how to record. Anyway, Galaxy Unpacked, July 22nd. And then after that, Google announced their Pixel 11 event is happening August. It's happening in August. What is it? August 12th. So Pixel 11, August 12th. Last year was the weird Jimmy Fallon event where he was like, you know what I mean? He was like, look at this phone. I could do all this stuff. But anyway, not rumors for like big changes. Smaller bezels, maybe a slightly better camera. Not rumored to be big changes, but new Pixel phone. There you go. Didn't you have a Pixel Fold? Do you still have a Pixel Fold?
I've had a Pixel Fold. I've had a Samsung Fold. I don't remember which one. It was like 3 or 4. And then the Pixel Fold I had much more recently than that.
Yeah, that's what that. Well,
I do send back my Android review units.
Just not your Apple review units.
I send them back.
That pause there is the critical pause. I send them back.
I do send things back.
So you just put a little upward inflection on that back.
Sometimes it just takes longer than others.
I send them back.
I sent the iPhone 17 Pro Max back as soon as I started using the 17 Pro because it's like, what am I going to do with both of these?
Exactly. Netflix is going to be doing short form video. If you go to the app, you might see them now. Netflix is trying all the things. This is going to be like August 3rd. Netflix will be offering this content. It'll be in the US, Canada, UK, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. Things from like BuzzFeed and Vanity Fair's lie detector test, which I've probably seen a bunch of reels and TikToks of those clips. You'll be able to see that on your TV, I guess. But they really want you to just use the Netflix app on your phone. So, just put it right next to Instagram and TikTok. You just, do I want to scroll vertical videos? Yeah, Netflix is the place I go for that. I don't know. This is like a Quibi situation.
It's not a Quibi situation. What it is a situation where Netflix is seeing that the key to creating more engagement and getting people to spend more time on it, especially now that they have ads.
Yeah.
The way you serve more ads is getting people to spend more time with their eyeballs pointed at your app. And the way to do that is to have more content. And at some point you reach a thing where like it's not productive or cost effective for us to pay, the people who make Stranger Things to make other shows. What if we just had BuzzFeed load its stuff in? Like, you know what I mean? It's like It's like, I don't think that that's what people expect from Netflix. And so I don't think that this is a thing that's going to last very long.
The most meta thing, not Meta the company, but just meta like the term, is if you're scrolling the vertical videos on the Netflix app while you're not watching the Netflix content in the background.
Yeah.
On your TV. That'll be...
And at that point, you might as well just open TikTok.
That's the singularity right there. I don't know what happens if you do that. Apple, they're going to try and relieve some of this chip business. Well, the first one is not necessarily RAM and storage, but they're going to increase their spending with Broadcom to produce more chips in the U.S. And this will be like the cellular connectivity or other wireless connectivity, like the C1X or the N1 chips. They're going to try and they want to make more chips in the U.S., and they're investing in Broadcom to do that. And alongside that, they're also testing DRAM chips from a banned Chinese supplier, CXMT. The Financial Times reported that Apple is investigating using them for RAM, but only for devices in China. So this wouldn't be for iPhones in the US, I think, because it is actually banned. Side note, my software update is about to install on my main iPhone. I'm getting nervous now. So anyway, Apple's testing the DRAM for Chinese devices from CXMT. They're doing everything they can to save money here. That's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, this we'll see. The chip thing is interesting. I found it really like this is one of those like in the press release it says we're going to spend $30 billion to make 15 billion chips. I'm like, oh, the chips are $2 a piece. Okay, like I don't feel like we typically get component cost information from processes from Apple, and it's going to create a bunch of American jobs. I don't know what this is replacing. Like that's the piece of this I don't fully understand. They want to produce billions more U.S. chips, but I think the implication from this when people think of chips is like, oh, you're making the M7. No, that's not what's happening here.
But I mean, there's still
that stuff.
There are still Apple devices that don't use the C1X and N1 chips. I don't think. Hey, maybe this means cellular MacBooks. That would be nice. Probably not.
Do you think we're going to ever get them?
On an infinite time scale.
Okay, in the next 5 years. I guess I realize I should put a little bit of a timeline on it.
You know what? I'm going to say yes. I think within the next 5 years, we'll finally get a C1X cellular chip in a MacBook Air. I think we'll do it.
And do you think the reason we don't have one now is because Tim Cook likes tethering and John Turnus is like, this is dumb, let's just put the chip in there? Or that there's some other reason for it? Because, hear me out, based on this release, feels like these chips are not very expensive.
Sure.
Like it doesn't seem like the reason we don't have them in Macs is because it would not be cost effective to put them in Macs.
Well,
Also,
here's my question. Does the iPhone 17 Pro series use Apple's C1X chip? Because I thought they were like slowly...
I think the Air and the 17E, maybe? Is that right?
Right. Like that's what I'm like. I think let's make sure our own cellular connectivity chip is good. I think that's why. And also Wave, for whatever reason, that was not in the C1X chip. And so they might be waiting till they can, support all of that. And so I think it's just the early days. I think as it rolls out to all the devices, like I imagine the iPhone 18 and 18 Pro this fall will get whatever the latest Apple's cellular chip is. Maybe it'll be like the C2X or something. And then I could see like, all right, once this is in all of our current cellular devices, iPhones, iPads, which the iPad has the C1X chip, then if you have a cellular version, then I think they would move it to the MacBooks. I think they'll do it within 5 years.
So you think that they just didn't... Oh, well, that is another argument because like the patent, whatever, with Qualcomm, you had to pay a percentage of the device cost in a Mac. Did you see the current prices of MacBook Pros right now? Like they just went up by a lot.
That is true. So I think...
That is understandable. The Pro series does have the N1 wireless networking chips. They just don't have the cellular modems in them.
Right, exactly. So I think that's the thing. Once it rolls out to the whole iPhone lineup, then maybe, I think within 5 years, we might see it in the MacBook. I could see that. All right. We'll see. If we'll still be doing this podcast in 5 years.
I think the Neo already has an iPhone chip in it, so maybe they can just make that one.
It literally does. Not the wireless chip, but yeah, it does. Well, it does. Never mind. I don't know if the Neo has the N1 chip, but
I don't know either. But it does definitely have an iPhone processor.
It has the A19. This was fun. Pocket Cast is constantly trying to woo me back because now they've added, first of all, an entire.
Wait, you're not using Pocket Casts?
No, I've been using the
We
Apple
don't have time
Podcast
to talk
app.
about this today, but
I've been using the Apple Podcast app. One, it's because Apple's been doing the video stuff, and so I need to be in the Apple Podcast app a lot to like see all the stuff's working. And the Apple Podcast app's pretty good. It has the transcripts. It has the automated chapters for shows that it's nice to have those chapters. And the design of the Apple Podcast app is still one of the best. Their Up Next queue is the worst of all the apps, and I've said that many times in many videos.
Also, there are cross-device sync of where you're at, and a podcast is terrible.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better.
But it's still terrible.
I don't know if it's terrible, though.
Okay, it went from horrible to bad to like meh.
It's that I'll agree to. It's meh right now. It's meh.
Where Pocket Cast is pretty bulletproof.
It is so solid, it's annoying because the syncing playback and the Up Next queue for Pocket Cast has always been like, man, I really want to, because Pocket Cast was my default for many years, and once Apple Podcast started some of the redesigns and such, and the subscriptions, like I moved back because I do have a couple paid subscriptions in there, but it's not. Listen, there's a lot of things not great about it.
This is what I want. I want basically Pocket Casts, but I would appreciate all the video features from Apple Podcasts.
Right.
And then
the
single greatest podcast feature that any app has ever introduced is what Marco Arment did in Overcast, where if you accidentally touch your screen and you hit the slider and it jumps to some really ridiculous, but you can go back.
You can go back. There's
Every
a go back.
podcast, and listen, it should be a law. Any podcast app that has a live activity, is that what we call those things on the home screen?
Yes, live activity.
That should be required to implement that feature, because the number of times you pull your phone off the charging thing in your car, you're holding it in your hand, you accidentally touch the screen, and suddenly you went like 37 minutes into the future on a podcast. There's 0% chance you know where you were.
It's true.
You're never going to get back to that spot.
Jason is not typically for government oversight, but when it comes to this
should be a law.
This should be a law. I agree.
Apple should make a law that if you use this feature, you also have to include this.
Yes. So all that to say, Apple Podcasts Up Next queue, and I have told people at Apple directly, like, hey, your Up Next queue, you need to just rip what Pocket Cast does because your queue is bad. Like, you can't move episodes from the continue playing to the queue, and the queue will let you add the same episode 18 times, and then you might just hear the same episode start after you just finish it. Like, it's bad. But I stick with it. I like the design. I like the automated chapters. But Pocket Casts, now it has a complete liquid glass redesign, and they've now brought chapter artwork everywhere. There's chapter artwork on CarPlay. Chapter artwork will show in the control center, which I don't think even Apple Podcast does that. You have to go into the app to see the chapter artwork. And so it's gotten really good. And now I'm like, maybe I need to go back. Maybe. So anyway, Pocket Cast, it's a great app. And I might try it again. We'll see. You use Pocket Cast still?
I do, and I only have one complaint, which is that the widget, at least the small widget, sometimes you tap the play thing and it changes to look like it's playing and literally nothing happens. And then you tap it again and it says pause and then it starts playing, but it says like there's some weird disconnect there.
I could tell you Apple Podcast widget does the exact same thing because I have the podcast
it's
widget.
A podcast widget problem.
I think it's a widget play button issue. It's not Pocket Cast.
It's super weird. It's like you have to prime it a little bit. You're like, I'm about to play something, so
you got to warm it up.
And then it's like, okay, I'm ready. And then you push it again. It's like, I'm here we go. But it flips the wrong switch and like the interface doesn't match what's actually happening.
It's like the Inside Out emotions. They're all pulling the levers like, wait, do we play it? Do we pause? What does he want?
I don't know. Just make some sound.
Play something. Just skip forward 30 minutes. He'll love that.
That actually happens sometimes too, where I will go into Pocket Cast and I will tap a episode and it starts playing, but the widget hasn't refreshed. So then if I go and I'm like, I need to pause it, I don't realize the widget hasn't refreshed. So when I tap the icon, it actually starts playing whatever podcast is still in the widget interface. It's like, no, I didn't want anything to be happening right now. I wanted to stop. And it's like, not only did you not do that, you switched to playing something else.
Yeah, it is.
So widgets, fix the widgets, people.
Fix the widgets. Claude has now put Cowork on mobile. So you can now run Claude Cowork tasks from your iPhone or Android device. And it's moving Claude Cowork tasks to the cloud, which my other co-host, David Sparks, has some questions about and some concerns because he has a lot of Cowork tasks and he likes running them locally on his Mac. And now it seems like Cowork tasks will run in the cloud by default, which means your stuff is just going to the cloud immediately. I'm curious how that will work with tasks that have to do with your local files. Obviously, because the Claude is saying you can start a Cowork task, close your laptop lid, and it will keep going because it's in the cloud and not your laptop. But if you ask Claude Cowork to rename 1,000 files in a folder, I imagine it's going to stop when you close your laptop lid. So it's
it better stop when you close your laptop lid.
Yeah, that's true. It better stop. So unclear. They also moved Cowork into the chat. And I've been hearing John Gruber and Ben Thompson complain about the Claude app every day, every dithering episode it seems like for the last 3 weeks. I'm not that mad about the Mac Claude app. I think it's fine. Are you mad at the Claude app that it's like Electron or whatever?
I'm not mad at it.
Sure.
Except I don't appreciate that what you just described, that they moved Cowork to the chat interface. They should not have done that. I know why they did that. They are trying to get people who have no idea what the word Cowork means to start using Cowork.
Yes.
For whatever reason. But I think that it's bad because it's just bad because there is 3 different things that you might do with the Claude app. They are distinct: chat, Cowork, code.
I know.
Those 3 things should have remained separate. I don't like the fact that they moved it there. In fact, the other day when the update happened, I spent a significant amount of time trying to figure out why are my Cowork things? I have like 4 of them that run on a regular basis. Why are they suddenly in with my chats? What's going on here? Yeah.
If you're not, I'm going to show it right here. If you've not updated your Claude Mac app yet, now in the top left corner, there's home and code. It used to be home, or it used to be chat, Cowork, code. Now it's just the 2 tabs there, and it's in the chat window on the right where it says you can switch between chat and Cowork. I don't care for that, I don't think.
No, I don't at all. I don't like it. I think it's, so that is not a function of why their reason for the app is like, there's a couple things. It's an Electron app, so really you're just looking at the same thing you could see in Chrome, except for, I don't think on the online, like if you open Claude.ai in Chrome, you cannot use Claude code, right?
Well, you can't use Cowork. I don't think to like rename your files either.
Sure, so, right. So there's that part of it. There's definitely some benefits to it, but it doesn't do a lot of the things that you would expect a native Mac app to do.
Right.
It doesn't bother me a ton, but the one thing I wish it was capable of doing is the thing the ChatGPT app does. And they talked about this in the latest episode of Dithering, which is, if I have ChatGPT open and I switch over to a Notes app, to the Notes app, for example, which I don't use because I use Contextly. But if you switch over to the Notes app and then you switch back to ChatGPT, it'll say, do you want me to connect to Apple Notes? It looks like you're doing something over there. And if you do that, you can have a chat that uses that content. You can have, if you update that note, it stays connected, and you cannot do that with Claude app.
No, but I also didn't use that with ChatGPT either. So.
Oh, really? I've done that. Yeah, I've done it a lot of times because it's great. I mean, I wish that they would incorporate that into the Claude app. The problem is I don't think that they can with an Electron app. And secondly, I don't think that they can because they just moved all the stuff it's doing to the cloud, not local.
Right. Yeah. So my Cowork tasks, I don't think it'll affect me too much, but I will have to follow up with David because he was having an existential crisis the other day. Oh, here we go. My iPhone is now on iOS 27 Beta 3. My 17 Pro Max. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little nervous, Jason. I may already regret doing this.
Already?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how many devices say not responding in the Home app, and then I'll pass judgment. No devices are responding. I did want to try Siri AI on the watch, which is now there in the Beta 3. So I think I'm going to update my watch to Beta 3 as well. Are you going to do that?
Sure. Want me to do it right now?
Yeah, we'll do it right now.
Hey, Siri, update to Beta 3.
All right, last thing before I talk about the Meta glasses.
I'm not sure what you're trying to edit. That's what it just told me. Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, it's on the watch. It's not Smart Siri yet.
It's not at all.
OpenAI also released new voice models, better natural conversations. It can listen and talk at the same time, which that's kind of impressive. It also feels like these AI companies understand that Siri AI is coming, and they are trying to make their voice products and assistants as good as possible. And so there's that. The ad for this was interesting. It was like these elderly ladies, and it was like new voice chat and all this kind of stuff. I thought that was interesting. But anyway, I've not listened to it. So have you heard it? Like, have you listened to it?
I'm not really using the ChatGPT app for a lot anymore.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'm mostly just using the Claude app. Former sponsor, they didn't pay me to say that. I pay for Claude Max, like all that stuff. That's just mostly what I'm using. There are a couple of things that I do open the ChatGPT app for, and it's basically if I want to do something that is an extension of a previous conversation I've already had in ChatGPT. Right. I know there are ways you can get all that information and put it into Claude. That's fine. But it's easier just asking the ChatGPT app a question.
Sure. Okay, now my iPhone 17 Pro Max is optimizing search and it is indexing all the things. My iPhone is going to be 1,000 degrees.
Mine is pretty warm right now. I'm going to set it on my desk and I put my cup of coffee on top of it so it'll reheat the coffee.
I was going to say to cool down the iPhone?
No, to reheat the coffee.
To reheat the coffee. All right. I want to talk about Meta glasses. These are the Meta Fury glasses. The social media reactions are very polarized. People have strong feelings.
Do you think that's why they named it Fury?
That'd be good. People, someone asked on Mastodon, rightfully so, they were like, you guys on the podcast talk so much about how Meta is a bad company, and then you went and bought their glasses. Now, I understand that might be seemingly contradictory, but we talked a lot of crap about Humane, and I still bought that stupid pin because new technology, I think it is my job or part of my job to test these things and understand how they work and can this even be useful? And when it comes to smart glasses, I had not personally tried them. I don't consider the Vision Pro in the smart glasses category. I got to try multiple smart glasses at CES, Even Realities, the Mimo from Xiaomi. I tried their smart glasses. And these, I feel like Meta, of any smart glasses that you can buy today, are the farthest along. And if you believe all the rumors, it seems like Apple is investigating and likely getting into this category sometime soon in the near future. And so I wanted to know, are these actually useful? Do anybody care? And what would it be like if Apple were to make glasses like these? And so that was my purpose for getting these and wanting to try them and see, is this a thing? Do you have any commentary on that contradiction?
What I want to say, though, is to clarify, and I'm not throwing Steven under the bus here. I want to clarify that before I clarify it. I'm just sort of extrapolating on the comment you referred to. I don't know the person. I didn't read the comment. I have no idea. But just based on what you said, we ragged on Humane because the thing they made was stupid and didn't do the thing they said that it would do. Okay? And you bought it, but it's so you could talk about how dumb it was and didn't do the thing that it promised to do. That is different than when we talk about Meta. We don't think of Meta's products as being dumb. We think of them as being malicious. And so there is a different distinction there. It's like, well, then why would you give them money for a product? I think I agree with everything you said about it. I don't know that that wasn't necessarily the right comparison to make because saying, well, I bought Humane's AI pen, even though we make fun of that. Yeah, we make fun of that because it just didn't do what they promised. And the people talking about it sounded like they'd invented Jesus. And really what they gave you is a paperweight. Just stopped working.
Yeah, so that's fair.
There's that. I wanted to say that. Now, I also think that it is possible to hold two contradictory ideas in your head at the same time. No, human beings have this capability.
Yeah.
Well, they're supposed to have that capability.
Ideally.
The internet makes people lose that capability entirely. Right. I learned this experience talking to people in Europe about the U.S. men's national team because of the whole thing that happened last week. But when I say militia, when I say Meta is malicious, that's probably not entirely fair. I don't think that they intend to be that. I just think they are laser focused on the thing that they want, which is engagement, because again, they're an advertising business. Right?
Correct.
And so it is hard to square that with, well, then why would you wear around glasses that have cameras that are pointed at people with Meta?
So, and when I do my video this weekend, this is kind of like my warm up because I've filmed a bunch of stuff. I've been using them for the last couple of weeks. I'm going to make a YouTube video about it, but I kind of wanted this conversation to help me solidify my thoughts and also hear your questions because have you used, I know you used the Google.
I used the Google the Gemini ones, XR glasses, last year at I/O.
Right. And these are different because there's no screen in these glasses. These are not the Meta displays. So this is just speakers, microphone, built-in AI, and the cameras. And a distinction from like Mimo and the Even Realities glasses, a lot of those quote-unquote AR glasses don't have cameras. And they advertise themselves as like, that's the selling feature. Like, we don't have cameras on our glasses. That's why you should use us. But what I have discovered in the last couple of weeks, having a camera and being able to ask an AI chatbot about what's in front of you without ever having to think about pointing a camera or getting out your phone, there are moments where it is really cool and useful. And it is the hardest double-edged sword because it also means you have a camera on your face all the time.
Yeah.
And that is weird and awkward. And I'll describe a couple scenarios where it really comes into play. But the first outing I did with them was July 4th. We went to Lakeland. They have a great fireworks show. And I was wearing the glasses. And I took a bunch of pictures. And, one, pictures and video on the Meta glasses are vertical by default and you can't change it, which kind of sucks because I was really hoping to use these as like B-roll for videos when I review devices, like maybe for the iPhone 18 video. I can record with these and like get first-person perspectives really easily without having to set up a camera in a weird angle. I don't think that's going to be possible because I would have to zoom, I would have to crop it really bad. Like everything's vertical, you can't change it. But for the vertical videos, like they actually look pretty good. And when the fireworks began, now we could talk about should you even record fireworks because who watches fireworks videos back later? Sure. But
except that if you hadn't been recording them, we wouldn't have the video from was it Memphis where all of them, or San Diego or wherever it was where they all went off at the exact same time.
Right, exactly. So I'm always tempted to take video and photos of the fireworks. I don't know why. Sometimes we do look back just to see kind of like us at the fireworks. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this was... Anyway, it was kind of nice to be able to record the entire fireworks show and not think about it. I was able to look at it with my eyeballs, not think about where I was pointing my camera, and just capture the fireworks show from the glasses. That was kind of cool. And whether we ever watch this video again or not, I'm showing it now, so maybe it was useful. Like the idea of capturing a moment, but also being present in the moment because you're not watching it through your iPhone screen is kind of nice. And so there are several situations where it's like, okay, I get that appeal. And that's part of the double-edged sword. Other side note, 5-minute maximum, and then it stops recording video. So there is like weird limits to it, and transferring stuff to the glasses is a pain in the butt because you have to go to the Meta AI app, you have to connect to the glasses Wi-Fi network, and then it will slowly transfer your photos and videos to your phone. All of that stinks. Like, it's not a fun process. Keep that in mind. Second outing, I went to a grocery store and I wanted to just see, like, what is it like, talking to it, asking it, and you can ask Meta AI questions like, what's the weather? Is it going to rain? And it does pretty well at answering all that general knowledge stuff. But then there was a moment where I immediately regretted wearing them, which was I had to use the restroom. And I didn't think about it at first. I just walked into the restroom, and then I immediately realized I have a camera on my face, and I just walked into the restroom. And I have vision. It's not so bad that like I can take the glasses off and still see the world. Like I can function
and still use the bathroom. Is what
I still use the bathroom. My wife's vision is such that she could not. If she takes her glasses off, she cannot function. Like she cannot see what's around her unless she's very, very close. And so I immediately realized like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. And no one was in the bathroom at the time. And after I washed my hands and I was leaving, someone walked in. But I had the thought, like, if someone had walked into the bathroom, like if this was a crowded restroom, like a sporting event or a concert, if someone knew the glasses I had on my face and realized I was in the bathroom, like, that would feel really icky. And I don't like that at all. And I don't know how to square that circle. Like, how could you make a privacy-first device that has a camera on your face but then also use it in maybe sensitive situations where it's really awkward to have a camera on your face. I don't know how to solve that problem. I don't know if, there's so many rumors about AirPods with a camera, which will get, I always thought that rumor was silly, and now I understand why. But I don't know how you square that circle either. If you wore AirPods with a camera and people understood that those were the models that have a camera in them, that would feel really weird in a bathroom. I'm just throwing that out there.
Sure.
So anyway.
Also, though, AirPods are a little easier to take out of your ears to go to the bathroom than the glasses on your face.
Good point. Very true. So then I took them yesterday to a couple other places. I went to Oxford Exchange in Tampa, which is it has like a bookstore, it has all this kind of stuff. And I went to Armature Works, which is like a food hall. It's really cool and fun to ask it to identify things and just ask it questions about what I'm looking at. And the accessibility implications are incredible. If someone was visually impaired, and obviously pointing a camera when you're visually impaired at something to ask what you're looking at could be problematic. Like you can assume, and I'm sure people will have an idea, I'm pointing the camera this way, it's fine. But when it's on your face, you can know that wherever you're facing, that's what the camera is seeing. And so I stood in front of a cafe and I asked it, what's on the espresso menu? And the glasses can just tell me. It said there's a flat white, there's a latte, and it told me the cost for each. I stood in front of a book display and I said, what are recommend some books from all of this display? And it was able to point out, well, here's this book if you're interested in adventure. Here's this book. It's a great nonfiction. And it could just talk to me about what I'm looking at. And that felt like the future. That felt like Minority Report style. I can just ask it questions about what I'm looking at. So identifying things, the accessibility ramifications, all of that is great. And I understood why having a camera pointed where your eyeballs point could be really beneficial. A couple just nitpicks. The speakers on the glasses are good, but not great. And so in noisy environments, like when I was in the food hall, it's hard to hear it. And as far as I can tell, you can't pair Bluetooth headphones with the glasses. The glasses act as headphones to other devices. So I can listen to a podcast because my phone is connected and it's playing audio through the glasses, and you can raise the volume all the way up, but it's hard to hear in very noisy environments. No option for pairing headphones with them. So that was kind of funny side note. I really want to know how much they paid Judi Dench and Kristen Bell to be voices for the Meta AI glasses, because there is a menu where you can choose for Meta AI voice to be Judi Dench. And if I always change my voice assistants to have a British accent, so I feel like 007, and you could not get any further down that road than literally having M talking to you in your glasses.
I mean, that's Dame Judi Dench to you, sir.
Sorry, Dame Judi Dench. You can literally choose her as a voice for the glasses. I so want to know how much she had to get paid for that, because she would have had to train her voice on it, because it has to say all kinds of things. So anyway, there's that. And lastly, I'll just say, after using these for a while, one of the things I did was I held a book up and I said, hey, tell me about this book. And it was actually an Issey Miyake book. It was the author. It was like a design book. And I said, hey, can you find this book on Amazon and add it as a reminder to get later? And it was like, sure, I can do that. Now, in the Meta AI app, there's a reminder section, and that's where it has to go. So it's in my Meta.
There's a problem that you're sort of getting around. Okay.
I'm getting there. I'm going to get there. I'm going there next. Also, it said, yeah, I got it. No problem. Added it to your reminders. And the reminder is actually Issey Miyake book on Amazon. It didn't actually get the Amazon link and put it in the reminders. It just told me to look it up on Amazon. So all of those cool use cases aside, it is obvious that something like this will not be anywhere near as useful unless it's made by Apple.
Or Google, but yes.
Or Google.
Yes.
Because I want that reminder to go to my Reminders app. And as I was driving away from my house one day, I was like, oh, I'll ask my glasses to close my garage door. No, it doesn't have access to your Apple Home. It can't do that. Nor can I get my messages. I think you can get some message notifications on the glasses, but it's not first party. But all of the use cases, I realized, okay, if these were Apple glasses and it was integrated with my messages, my notifications, I could control my smart home, I could ask Siri AI all the amazing Siri AI things that can do, these would be so cool. It would be really, really cool. I don't know how to solve you have a camera on your face problem, but there's a lot of use cases where I see the promise and I understand why These have been the only like AI glasses that have been anywhere near successful. And I will give Meta a little bit of credit because there was a news article that came out where if you try to tamper with the light, because whenever you take a picture, a little LED light flashes, and as you're recording video, the light will pulse. And people were doing nefarious things, trying to disable that light, trying to cover it up. And Meta is pushing a software update where if you try to mess with that light, the camera will get bricked. So if you try to remove the light, if you try to disable the light, the camera is just going to be disabled from the glasses entirely. And so of all the negative things we can say about Meta, at least they are trying to do something there where disabling the light to record will have ramifications and won't let you use the camera. But all that to be said, you still have a camera on your face, and I don't know how that can not be awkward.
Well, also, the cynical take is Meta's not doing that because they think it's the right thing to do. They're doing that because they don't want the stories of the nefarious use cases that would happen if people are able to disable the light. That's reputational protection. It's not. Sure. It's not like altruism.
Fair. That is totally fair.
But also, like, this is the thing that I've always thought. I think Meta has done the most to sort of flesh out and prove the concept that glasses could be a form factor that have a use.
Yeah.
But Metas will just never be that use for two reasons. People don't trust Meta. Everything you just did involved Meta AI, not Siri, not ChatGPT, not Claude, not any of the places that you may have already built up a library of context that would be useful, or your personal information. And you're now sending all that information to Meta. It's like, remember that espresso shop that you looked at? Hey, you're on Instagram. Here's an ad. Did you know they have delivery and they'll just send you beans to your house? Like, that's what's going to happen. That's the only way this makes any sense because, and I'm not suggesting that. That's why I said Google. I don't think Apple's the only company that can do this. Google could do this, but Meta has no one uses a calendar from Meta. No one. I mean, they do have WhatsApp. They do have WhatsApp. They do have a messaging product, but like any pair of Bluetooth earbuds theoretically can read your messages to you.
Yeah, and they do.
Like that's so. I'm like that's fine. That's like not significant. But what Meta's AI cannot do is answer the question, what time did my mom say she was coming over? Right. Like it's not in Meta AI unless it's in WhatsApp. So like in the US at least, I mean, everywhere I travel overseas, we only use WhatsApp.
Yeah. WhatsApp.
But everywhere in the US, like there are some people who use WhatsApp, but like if you're under the age of 27, you're using Snapchat. If you're over the age of 27, you're using something, iMessage or whatever. So I don't know. I think I'm glad that they are trying to flesh this out. And they are shipping products that don't have that end use case because they have to get them out there. Whereas Apple can afford to be a little slower because once they get it right, it will be like panacea. It'll just have everything.
And the thing, like if somehow Apple could make glasses like this that have the benefits of being able to see what you see in some privacy and security, like I have no idea how it would be possible because to see what you see, there has to be a lens of a camera somewhere on the device.
Yeah.
And it's going to see the world around you. I don't know how it's possible, but man. And the AirPods with a camera, like you were saying, that would be easier to like put away. And also, if you don't wear glasses already, someone might not be inclined to want to wear glasses. You know, I think AirPods, whether you wear glasses, hat, whatever it is, like everyone will use AirPods because the convenience factor and the benefits are just so high. Like I'll put these things in my ear. Glasses, it's a harder sell. Someone doesn't wear glasses. Like people have LASIK surgery, so they don't have to wear glasses. Like to put it back on, is a cost. And to your point about Meta, like the nefarious side, this is the Verge article, Meta is also working on glasses that would be recording all the time, calling super sensing. Always aware smart glasses that's recording audio and snapping photos every few seconds. And this is like, that's an end game of like, no, I would not wear those glasses. I wouldn't even try them for a video. I don't want something recording all the time because then it's like, what if I have to use the bathroom in my own house and I'm wearing the glasses? I don't want that. I don't want that being sent to Meta. And as I've been wearing these the last 2 weeks, I just resolved to think I have no privacy when I'm wearing these glasses. Zero.
And neither does anyone around you, which means that if Meta introduces glasses that are recording all the time and you put them on your face, someone's going to punch you.
Right. And in my experience at the grocery store, 4th of July, going to the food hall and a couple places, not one person pointed them out. Not one person said, hey, are those the Meta glasses? Now, there weren't like tons of people around. If I was at a concert or a sport, maybe someone would recognize them. But not one person said anything. I had a couple looks where it was like maybe they did a double take and they were kind of like, what kind of glasses are those? But no one ever said anything or whatever. But I don't know. This is always the question now when I get to like the end of my review and I make the video. Do I keep the thing? Do I keep these for the future? And I have until August 1st to return them. And I could get my $400 back, which is very tempting. But I'm also like, maybe there are some events where I would love to just be able to record a video and not hold a phone and just be there for the event. And I already wear glasses. And my kids thought they were the coolest thing because I have like photos of my travels and they would go up to the photo and be like, where was this photo taken? And the glasses would say, this was taken in Amsterdam along this. And this was the cathedral in the background. And like, that's kind of cool that it can do that. But I will also be very selective about wearing, like I would not wear these all the time. They're not as comfortable as my Warby Parkers because they're heavier, they're big, and they slide down more often. So I would not wear them all the time for comfort. I also just don't want them on my face for times when I might have to use a public restroom. And so, but for some situations, maybe I would. Maybe like July 4th, like I go out and do it for, I don't know, go someplace over the holidays and we see Christmas lights and I don't have to think about taking my phone out to record. I don't know. That's the internal struggle I have now. But they're very interesting technology. Very clear where a humane AI pin had almost no value as a product and no one should buy it or use it. These, I understand what the value is. And for accessibility especially, totally get it. Like this could be game-changing for somebody. Because I even asked it like, what's on my desk? And it does a very good job of describing everything on the desk. And so just being able to do that quickly and easy, and yes, your iPhone does that. Apple had a whole video about accessibility, talking about it in iOS 27. There's going to be even more features. Your iPhone can do all of this stuff, but you have to get it. You have to unlock it. You have to be in the right mode if you're not accustomed to using those kinds of features. And just being able to be like, hey, Meta, do this. And the device is already on my face and on. I see the value there.
You also have to be stricken with amnesia to look at your desk and not know what the stuff is that's on your desk.
No, but for accessibility, Jason, if someone is visually impaired and they need to know, yes, obviously you've probably set up your life in a way that is conducive.
Well, I guess my point was that is a gimmick. It's a cool party trick to be like, I can just look at all this stuff. But in a real world use case, looking at your desk is not the thing, obviously. And I know you weren't specifically only saying that, but I'm just saying these are products that are designed with finite borders that the real use case is somewhere beyond that, and we don't know what that is yet.
Sure, but I also see, if I walk up to a food truck and I'm visually impaired, I want to say, hey, what's on the menu? That's useful.
Yeah, I'm trying to be really careful because I think there's a point at which being visually impaired with a pair of glasses again, I'm not... it's hard to define where that edge case is.
Right.
Because my initial thing was again, I'm sort of ignorant of this, but how is that problem being solved now that this would solve better? If I'm visually impaired and I walk up to a food truck,
you're right.
How did I get there?
How do you know where to look to?
And I did not just would I not just talk to I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that sounds like a very oversimplified, this is really cool. And I'm thinking how is that problem currently being solved that this would do better? And I'm not saying the answer is zero. I just don't know exactly what that is yet.
And that's fair. If you were handed a menu at a restaurant,
sure,
something like that.
Yeah, I did that a lot. For a year, I would look at menus, and every time I had a menu, I'd take a photograph of the menu, and I'd say, ChatGPT, what can I eat off of this?
For sure. And I did mention, this also does translation.
Sure.
So if you were given a menu in another language, you could say, hey, translate this for me, and it could do it. So all of that to say, I think there is more than zero value here. It is still a long way off, and the privacy and security implication is, I think, even the biggest challenge. And I hope Apple figures it out.
Yeah, I just think that they will really be a successful product when someone who has all your data already.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean your browsing history. I mean your calendar, your email, your messages, your photos. You can't even take photos and have them just show up in your pphoto library.
That's the other huge thing. It's if it was an Apple glasses, I could just take a photo and it would sync to my iPhone immediately.
Yes.
And so all of that, which is this is why Zuckerberg hates Apple.
Yeah.
He's ticked because he can't do that. And he doesn't have a device that does it either. So anyway, I'm going to make a video about it. If you have questions, hit me up on social media, or just email me because I can do them in the video. I'm recording the video tomorrow as you listen to this. So if you listen to it on the day it comes out. But Jason, I need you to tell me about something real quick for personal tech. You were on a flight and you saw a gentleman with 3 iPads. How?
Yeah, well, okay, so I was on a very long flight. Well, it's not the longest flight, but I was flying back from Heathrow to Detroit.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on the aisle of the center section. And in the aisle of the section against the right side there was a gentleman, and I presume his wife. And the gentleman, when we got on the plane, was just reading something on an iPad mini. It was probably lots of people do that on planes. Although I don't see as many iPad minis on planes, just to be fair.
Yeah.
So he's reading on an iPad mini. I was like, whatever. Okay, great, cool. And then a little bit later into the flight, he pulls out an iPad Pro, an 11-inch iPad Pro, and starts watching a movie. I was like, bro is traveling with 2 iPads.
Double fisting iPads.
I was like, that's impressive. He's got 2 different iPads. And iPad mini doesn't have a huge battery life, but you could easily make it through an 8-hour flight with an iPad mini, especially if what you started to do is read, and second thing you're going to do is play video that you've already downloaded, because they're optimized for that. Apple uses that as the measure of our battery life. So exactly. You could have got, there's no question. And then later on, after the meal, I look over and he is typing on a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, or 13, whatever it is. So the 11-inch iPad Pro was sitting in a Magic Keyboard, and all he was doing is watching a video. And then he pulls out the 13-inch iPad and he's literally doing this. And I think he was doing work, because he also had some papers out that looked like research. I don't know. You know how you're on a plane? You want to know enough about what's happening over there without actually looking like you're trying to figure out what's happening over there.
Yeah, I get it.
So within 4.5 hours, he had pulled out 3 different iPads, a mini and 2 different iPad Pros. And so I posted about it, and a lot of people thought it was insanity, which it is. And Samsonite actually responded, and they're like, we need to understand, why is this happening? I was like, I guess I should ask. So I asked. And he said, I prefer the size of the mini for reading, which true. That's for sure the truth. And the screen is so nice on the 11-inch. So that's what I watch movies on. But it's not big enough to do work. So I carry this, quote, big one for doing real work.
Amazing.
I'm like, but the 11-inch is the one that had the Magic Keyboard.
Right. One.
I don't get it.
And if you have
the 13-inch just had a Smart Folio.
When if you have the same year 11 and 13-inch Pro, it's the same display.
Right. Yeah, so you could just watch the movies on the 13-inch.
That's what I'm saying. The big screen is great, even better for movies because it's bigger.
I didn't think about that question.
But also, there were years where the 11 and 13-inch had different screens.
But the 13-inch usually had a better screen.
That's what I'm saying.
So he would have had to have several-year-old 13-inch iPad Pro. Maybe it was an A12 Bionic or something.
That's true.
It's for the 11-inch to have had a better screen. That's a possibility that I did not consider. And if you did have that old of one, you wouldn't have a Magic Keyboard either.
Fair. Well, Magic Keyboard's been around for a while.
Yeah, but I don't think the original. Well, no, you're right. The original one does have
the 2018
non-M series.
Yeah,
12.9-inch does have a Magic Keyboard you can get for it. I don't know.
That's amazing. Did you get his name? His first name?
No, but then he pulled out an Android phone, and I just about lost it.
No, you did. No, he did not.
I told you that, didn't I? I'm pretty sure
Oh,
I
yeah,
texted
you did.
you
You
that
texted me.
he
You
started
texted me
finger typing, one finger pecking on an Android device. It looked like some kind of super large mid-range OnePlus thing or something. I don't know.
That is incredible.
I know.
He's my hero. He's my hero.
I think I told you, I was like, if the guy pulls out a Kindle, I'm going to have to buy him a drink.
Oh, that is amazing. 3 iPads. Listen, I understand a 2 iPad lifestyle. Like if you want like a 13-inch and a mini, but to have all 3 sizes.
I have an 11-inch and a mini.
Sure.
But I don't take them both on a plane. In fact, the 11-inch basically sits in my room and I just read on it occasionally.
If he would have pulled out a Vision Pro, should have just jumped out of the plane.
If the guy had pulled out a Vision Pro, I would have found an award for him.
That is on 3 iPads on a plane. If you carry 3 iPads on a plane, leave us a 5-star rating and review and let us know, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are 3 iPads on a plane? We're going to go record a bonus episode. I didn't get to my smart lock, so I might mention that. Then Jason has SSD story. If you want to hear our bonus episode, get an ad-free version of this show. You'll have chapters come iOS 27, even with the video, but you get all the chapters. You can just support the show. Click the link in the show notes. $2.50 a month, $25 a year. You get the ad-free bonus, Primary Tech Daily, all of that. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd appreciate that. But, of course, the 5-star rating and review. Let us know. What would you do with 3 iPads? Even if you don't have 3 iPads, you can let us know. What is your 3 iPad workflow? What would it be? And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.